Well, there's some big news going on, so I want to give you a quick impromptu update. I'm in a prophetic location, really, because this nation really loved Trump and was affected greatly by Trump's policies. Strangely enough, actually, Trump told Saudi Arabia, we're not going to buy all the oil from you. We're going to be energy independent. And by doing that, America forced Saudi Arabia to start modernizing and start thinking about opening up, liberalizing, and creating a tourist industry, which we are really a part of right now, and getting Christians to discover what's going on here. I mean, even where I'm at right here, look at all these untamed cliffs. It's really beautiful. And if this was, in Australia, well, forget about it. The Australians would just absolutely ruin the experience by telling you that, you got to put guardrails up and this is dangerous here and don't step there and don't go there and it's not safe here. So here nobody tells you anything. You just walk on the edge of a cliff if you want. It's total freedom here. No crime against foreigners anyway. Very safe. And all this is because Trump decided to let's go back a little bit. All this is not Trump. All this is going way back towards maybe more than 80 years ago. Rockefeller would have been part of discovering oil here. Oil is the second most abundant liquid on earth, and it's never going to run out. When they first discovered it in this region, it was just sitting right, surface level. And no matter how far we dig down, we just keep finding it. So it's beyond the fossil layers. It's just the gift of God. This place would have nothing else. So this nation then got their, $1 trillion industry from a partnership with America, and both enriched each other. So all the presidents of the United States make sure that they come and visit the Saudi prince and the Saudi king. Right now, the Saudi prince, Mohammed bin Salman, is kind of like the Trump of Saudi Arabia. He's making a lot of big changes, which, most people like. Like, you don't get arrested anymore for being outside without, the female covering. They used to have police follow people and daub on people, arrest them, for minor religious infractions like listening to music, dressing wrong, and they'll put your face to the curb. You'll be your head will be on concrete with these religious police. But now, they're not enforcing any of that because of we say MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince, the king to be. So then you come up to 2016, where Trump had a goal that America is going to be energy independent. Well, one country this really affects is Saudi Arabia. This is what this nation's built on. And there's a social stratification here because the oil revenue is not reaching everybody now, and they're not going to sell oil forever. So MBS is a visionary who ended up creating a lot of freedom for people. And, he's not a born-again Christian as far as we know. Lots of people have written to him and tried to get his attention, and he knows the Christians are here, and they leave us alone right now. But anyway, all of this could change. But right now it's changing for good. And as I said, because of Trump, they knew their time is running out and their wealth is going to go dry unless they open up their nation, unless they create an impression that this is an open country. And like Dubai, which is also another example, they can radically transform the landscape over here. So, by the way, there's no climate change talk here at all. Everybody uses plastic straws. Everything is, carried in plastic bags. Even when you get your laundry done, every piece of towel is wrapped in plastic. Depends on which one you use. But lights are on. I mean, neon lights by the hundreds light up all the shops, and they go on, past midnight. People are still shopping here. And you compare that with Germany, where we were at, and the government buildings, have turn off the lights. And that's just symbolic nonsense. They're not saving the climate or the world doing that. But, they're engineering this oil crisis, and they want to inflate the price of oil, if you don't understand this. Because if you create oil shortage or inflate the price of oil, then you create systemic inflation, because everything has to be transported. And you're not going to transport it by wind or solar. You're going to need diesel trucks and trains and planes. And so if you can create a crisis in oil, then you will inflate the price of everything. And as everybody suffers, then they can bring in their new system. And right now, everybody's a prophet. Everybody wants to predict the collapse of the banking system. Well, you're 2,000 years too late. We've been talking about the digitalization of money, and then the future imprinting of money on the wrist and on the forehead. And I'm sure it'll be pitched as very convenient and safe for us. It's all about our safety and security, but for them, it's about control. And it's, the government side is they want to control our movements. They want to know our spending, and they don't want to tax it. But from the Fed side, they want to cut out the middleman, which are the commercial banks. Right now, the way money is distributed into the system is the Fed prints money. You can't just flood it in. So it's then given to the commercial banks. The banks then sell debts, loans, like I guess credit cards are part of it, but mainly home loans are the biggest part of it. And then you take on this debt and you service it, and so the money goes up the chain. And they want to cut out the middleman. So what we're looking at right now with the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank, I think Swiss Bank also, Swiss Bank is in trouble. And this is the first time, think about this. Saudi Arabia has had record-breaking profit from oil last year. Aramco made, the most profit ever. And even Saudi Arabia does not want to bail out Credit Suisse. And they own something like 10% share in the bank. And they're just like, no, there's no such thing as too big to fail. You guys mismanage it, and there should be a consequence. And that would make sense. But they don't want to do that. They are supporting favorite banks. And there's an interview you got to listen to of Janet Yellen, who was head of the Fed and now has gone to become Secretary of the Treasury. There's this intermarriage between the Fed and the White House, which in itself is a collusion.
Will the deposits in every community bank in Oklahoma, regardless of their size, be fully insured now? Are they fully recovered? Every bank, every community bank in Oklahoma, regardless of the size of the deposit, will they get the same treatment that SVBP just got or Signature Bank just got?
A bank only gets that treatment if a majority of the FDIC board, a supermajority of the Fed board, and I, in consultation with the president, determine that the failure to protect uninsured depositors would create systemic risk and significant economic and financial consequences.
So what is your plan?
Made that determination.
Right. So what is your plan to keep large depositors from moving their funds out of community banks into the big banks? We have seen the mergers of banks over the past decade. I'm concerned you're about to accelerate that by encouraging anyone who has a large deposit in a community bank to say, we're not going to make you whole, but if you go to one of our preferred banks, we will make you whole at that point.
Look, I mean, that's certainly not something that we're encouraging.
That is happening right now.
That is happening because depositors are concerned about the bank failures that have happened and whether or not other banks could also
No,
fail.
it's happening
And
because you're
it's-
fully insured no matter what the amount is. If you're in a big bank, you're not fully insured if you're in a community bank.
Well, you're not fully insured. And
You
the big-
were at Signature, and
the
it just barely met that threshold. You were at Signature.
Well, we felt that there was a serious risk of contagion that could have brought down and triggered runs on many banks. And that's something, given that our judgment is that the banking system overall is safe and sound, depositors should have confidence in the system.
It's a collusion to steal your money and to create an alternative digital banking system. And as I said, people are now all prophets talking about this, but the Bible predicted this. It's called the mark of the beast. And it's something that the Antichrist will implement. So I have hope, despite the fact that everybody's predicting doom and gloom. I have hope that this system will be seen but not yet fully implemented while we Christians are here. And the Bible promises that the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the just, and we're expecting a transfer of wealth for those who know what to do with it. We're going to preach the gospel, extend the kingdom, redeem technology for God, bring people into, the mission field like this. Thailand, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, all sorts of places that are actually getting more and more free, and Americans just aren't getting there. You need to get out of your seat, start using your knowledge and your wealth for the gospel. And if you don't do it, then I guess it doesn't matter if the banking system collapses, because you weren't using your funds for God anyway. But I think that there's a significant majority of Americans who are fed up with the control and the lies. And this banking, so the rumor is this banking collapse, what's happening is because the Fed picks and chooses winners. It's not real free market when Janet Yellen decides with her buddies which bank is going to get the bailout. Free money. You've mismanaged your funds. If you do it, I do it, we get penalized. But they do it, they get more free money. So what's going to happen with this is it's going to create instability in the banking system, because people who have funds in smaller community banks, their money is not going to be guaranteed. Like if you have, big deposits, large deposits in Silicon Valley Bank. So then they'll bail out these big banks, and everybody who's got significant money will realize, hey, they're not going to bail out the small banks, so I'm going to shift my money out. And that's exactly what they want. They've always wanted to destroy small businesses. They did that, a lot of it, through COVID. And now they're doing it with banks. They want the small banks, middle-sized banks to be gone so they can consolidate. They're all about concentration of power. So once some of the smaller banks fail and your money is gone, your money will just vaporize, then they're going to guarantee deposits, large deposits, in the big banks. So the money will flow there. Then now what do you do? Now it's a lot easier to implement your new system, which these White House, the top economic advisor in Biden's White House, that's like her thesis, is talking about how to change the system so that we can have the digital Fed coin, digital dollar. So they're working on that, and when the money flows into just a few big banks, the ones you can name, then the rumor is that they're going to allow to collapse one of those banks. And then I heard someone say the white horse, they use even apocalyptic terms, the white horse, the false savior that will ride in will be the Fed coin. And they'll say, well, everyone's got to switch to this. They've already made a plan. You got to switch to it by 2025. And of course, that's 1 year after Trump will get reelected. So they can't have that. So now what's interesting about what's happening, while all these banks are failing, at the same time, they've announced that Trump has announced that he expects to be arrested this week. And at the same time frame, the ICC, the International Court in Europe, has said that they're going to, they've put out an arrest warrant for a head of state, for Putin. And that, their decisions don't apply to Russia They don't recognize, Russia doesn't recognize their, judicial authority at all. But it's a symbolic thing, and I think it restricts him and his cohorts on how far they can travel. The world becomes a smaller place for them, and that's, I guess, frustrating and congesting, and that's what they're doing to Trump as well. I mean, they're just frustrating him, trying to arrest him, and what's going to happen? Well, if the case goes to the Supreme Court, the judges are going to throw it out. You can't just, harass people that you don't like on the other side. I mean, then where does it end? And my question is, if Trump can be arrested in the next, few hours, why hasn't Hillary Clinton been arrested? There's a lot more going on with Hillary Clinton, a lot more evidence. So, all these things are just, what's the word? Converging all at the same time. And it's happening while I'm in Saudi Arabia. So I think that's pretty prophetic, because I believe the future is going to be in this region. Jesus is coming back to this region, and he's going to take land in this region, and he's going to be ruling in this region. So you're going to see a steady flow of people, a steady flow of money and technology. And if, for instance, if you're into nursing and you have that career and they put you out of a job because of COVID, well, guess what? In Saudi Arabia, they've got open arms and open doors for you. And if you're interested in that, join online church, and you can talk to me privately. I can't check everything in YouTube. It's just thousands of comments daily. But we'll talk to our family members, and we'll try to help and connect. Obviously, no promises, but God is working here in this region. And I think Christians need to come here more and more. Come on tour first, set foot on the ground, pray over here, bless this land. You'll realize it's much different than what's been advertised. And, there's no guarantee you're going to be able to climb Jabal al-Lawz or, the real Mount Sinai forever. So things are changing all the time. Just in a few short months, it's just amazing how many things have changed. Roads are not even recognizable. Desert roads have been paved. And the speed of change is really great. So I think prophetically, we are heading towards that digital dollar. It's going to be an instrument of control and tyranny, pitched to us as something great again, like, you know what, I don't want to say. And but we Christians have a job to do. And we need to use our time, our resources, our intelligence, our wealth, our connections, our relationships. We got to focus now on serving the Lord in the end time and not be afraid. Don't be afraid of all this. They're all losers. The Bible says the rulers of this world will come to naught. The rulers of this world, in fact, it was stronger than that. I just tweeted it out. I forget the word, but basically, they're all going to be destroyed. They're on the losing side, and they don't even understand that. If they understood it, they would stop it. They'd cut it out. But nobody gets away with sin forever. Nobody gets away with stealing and lying forever. And they've truly, truly lied about the inflation, about the oil crisis, and on and on. If I say more, then YouTube gives you a strike so I won't do that, because I want to keep talking to you. Anyway, this is a quick update from Pastor Steve Cioccolanti. I'd love to see you in online church. The link will be in the description below, and also on the lower thirds here. Discover.org.au is our main site, but the app is DiscoverChurch.Online. DiscoverChurch.Online. Go there and you can become a contributing member, and we're going to work with all sorts of people and partners in these end times, and it's really exciting. I'm excited about what God's doing. The devil's not going to win. So just go. Your call is related to locations. You gotta move. You gotta start moving and start going where the gospel needs to be preached. That's really important in the end time. All right, guys. I better sign off and see you in the next location. God bless. Thanks for your support, by the way. God bless you.